All right, all right. This is Nexxlegacy Radio. I am Brandon here with my guest. Listen, I've been wanting to talk to this young lady for a long time, seems like, but I'm glad I have her now so we can pretty much not just dissect her career, but also we can kind of talk shop about just life in general, impact things that's going on in the world that we can definitely be better at. And first off, before I introduce this young lady, you can go ahead and go to speakforimpact.com. And I want to welcome motivational speaker, presenter, educator, Julinda Ledee is in the house. Nexxlegacy. What's up, baby?
Hey, thank you for having me. And thank you for those gracious words.
Thank you for tapping in and hanging out with not just myself, but the listeners. But for the people out there, and just know this is global, right? So it's not just in the States. It's actually overseas and in different countries.
International.
Absolutely. So for the people out there who is just now trying to figure out who Julinda is, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Yes, my name is Julinda. I'm an author. I'm a poet. I'm a motivational speaker, and I am here to serve you. That's who I am.
All right. That's what's up. And I always think about, when I think about motivational speaking, it can range from a lot of different categories, a lot of different topics, a lot of different talking points where a lot of people can tend to listen. I mean, it could be a lot therapeutical in a sense, but also really inspirational. So for a lot of people out there that's listening now, like just the impact that being a speaker can have on day-to-day lives globally is a big thing, right?
For sure. That's actually how I got started. I never really considered myself a speaker. I've been working in education for the last 20 years. I hold my master's degree from the University of San Francisco. So with that being said, one day I was invited by a reading teacher, a reading instructor at the community college level, and she sent me an email. I didn't know her that well, but she asked me if I would speak to her students. And I politely said, I'm not a speaker. And she was like, no, I was referred to you by a counselor. And I was like, okay, that's nice, but I'm not a speaker. And she says, well, I have a population of former foster youth, and that happens to be my background and a personal passion of mine. So as soon as she said that to me, I said, what do you need from me? And she gave me some pointers of some students that she just wanted to get in touch with, and get in more in tune with. So I put together a PowerPoint. I went in, I did a presentation, and it was fabulous. And she put my name out there, and I've been speaking ever since.
And that sounds rewarding in a sense, right? That somebody that can not only reach out to you, that knows your worth before I guess you do, in a sense, because you didn't look for it, it kind of came to you, and that's a blessing in a sense too, right? But one thing that intrigued me about you, and one thing that is really impactful is, not just looking on your YouTube, but on your social media sites that you do have. The one thing is you continue to smile, and you continue to kind of just keep pushing, the good vibes and things like that. So have you always been that way, or has that just been something that has nurtured over years and years and years, and it got to a point where you're like, you know what, no matter how much it rains, I'm going to still bring some sunlight into this day?
I have to be honest with you. I tell people that's just my blessing from God, because on the outside looking in, people would not guess my background. As I said, I'm former foster youth. I was one of those youth who went through 13 schools in all. I went to 4 high schools before actually graduating. So I had like a volatile upbringing, just being around different groups, being in foster homes, group homes, and just seeing people with different even type of disabilities, whether it be mental or physical. So I've always had a passion to help other people. I guess I've learned that I'm an empath as I've gotten older. There's a name for that. But I've always been intuitive, just been caring, and for just some reason, the Lord just blessed me to be able to overcome and to support people around me. So yeah, that's my gift. He allows me to shine despite my circumstance. And sometimes I think I'm crazy, that I can still laugh and that I can still smile. But honestly, at the end of the day, I haven't gone without. And yeah, it's an amazing gift to have, for sure.
It's funny how just, God works, so many different ways, and will set you up for a challenge. And how do you rise up out of it is the work that you put in, and the fact that you won't change or waver for nothing, no matter what's going on in life. And, I think that's a testament to, what you are on this earth to do, which is to give. And being a speaker,
Mm-hmm.
have you ran into different moments and points in time where, after certain engagements, someone's come up to you and say, hey, you know what, I was really touched by this?
Oh, yes. It's been fascinating. And it's taught me a lot. Actually, I was just sharing a story with someone. Being a speaker and being a poet, because I generally do both. I got to leave them with a little poem, right? So with that being said, I've done different types of poetry, right? I have something a little sexy, something a little conscious, something for everyone, right? And so it's allowed me to touch other people that's gone through different things. For example, I've spoken to an audience, and then some men will come up to me who've been incarcerated, and they'll say, I write poetry, no one knows this, but just the particular poem that I wrote, it touched them, and therefore they knew I could identify with them without judging them. And so that same poem has touched this woman where she shared her story, where she came from Vietnam, and she was in different type of detention centers. So one poem, it just draws out so many different types of backgrounds and different types of experiences that people have had. So for me, it's been an eye-opener, and I've just really had to learn to embrace it, because at first I was like, oh, this is a lot. They're really sharing personal things with me. But then I realized I'm being vulnerable as well. I'm sharing my story, so it allows them to be comfortable with me.
I think that's hard for a lot of us, in a sense. Julinda's my guest on Nexxlegacy Radio. It's hard. It's hard for us, in a sense. You could elaborate on it as well. When it is to get out of your shell, to be vulnerable, to be transparent, all the things that I feel like a lot of us need to do on a consistent basis. Some people shut down for, some obvious reasons that we may not understand until we get a chance to kind of open up to them. But have you found it difficult in not just your speaking engagement career so far, but just in general, where some people will be like, you know what, it's not easy to be transparent because there's so many people who will take you for granted, or whatever the case may be?
Oh, yes, especially like in the professional world, because, again, I do work at the community college level. I do work in education. So, therefore, I've had colleagues tell me, don't tell anyone you're former foster youth. And I asked why, and this is because they will judge you. I said, well, that's not the audience that I want then, because I'm looking for a particular group who needs me. And so, yes, people will judge you. People will put you in a box. But, with my personality, with my smile, I've been able to break through some of those things. But, yeah, it's true. People will absolutely judge you no matter what it is. I mean, people will see you walk into the room and pass judgment. So, again, I just think that you really have to be comfortable in your skin. And one thing about me, the statement is, seek and ye shall find. I've always sought enlightenment. I've always wondered what my purpose was. So when you wonder what your purpose is, you generally will seek it out. And so when you're seeking, you will meet people and you will run across experiences in life that give you that answer, that validate who you are. So now I know that I am a vessel. I know that I'm here to spread love. I know that I'm here to spread joy. And as simple as a smile can do that for someone. Wow.
And you had that in me for a very long time from afar. Like I said, it's been one of those things where it's just amazing to see just from a distance, obviously not up close and personal, but it's inspiring in a sense where, I always feel like this, and if people out there don't feel like that, then that's okay, but I always felt like I was always put here to serve, to do something for other people, not just something for myself. So to your point,
right.
If you feel like you're a vessel, this vessel should be able to radiate and leave a legacy for so many different people, generations, things like that. But the mission is still the mission. You can't just, hey, I got the speaking engagement. All right, I'm cool now. Like, no, there's more to do, because if you look at the world today, and it's been like this for as long as we both can remember, there is still a lot of work that needs to be done, right? This is not going to be one of those things where it's just like, it'll be all good in the next 5 minutes or five years or whatever the case may be. There's still an ongoing process. So when you look at the state of the world today, and I know this is 2022, and we're dealing with a crazy war away from our shores, but it still impacted the lives, and just how social media and mental health, things like that. There's a need for presenters. There's a need for speakers. There's a need for positivity in this world, right?
Yes, for sure. We do. We need more of that.
I think it's important for all of us to just take a moment, not just for ourselves, but for other people, to take a moment to reflect and just show that appreciation and support. Julinda's my guest on Nexxlegacy Radio, and when it comes to your engagements, and I know if people go onto the website or if people go onto your social media, they can be able to find you and possibly set some things up. Have you ever had a situation where you were in and it's, like I said, positive, but you also have had maybe times in where it wasn't as open-ended as like some of the people that may have came up to you and say, hey, Julinda, you did great. I felt like this. Have you ever had some closed mouth situations where you did speak and not too many people said anything?
Yes, and actually I learned a technique to get away from that. And that's a fabulous question that you just asked, because you're absolutely right. When you're speaking to a group of people, and if you do want a response, I think it's best to let them know that. So when I go into a room, no matter whether it's a classroom or a conference room or a community room, I let them know I'm here to interact with you. So that's the first thing. I invite them to do that, right? And so now they know that door is open. So one technique that I did in the college classroom was if I asked a question and it was crickets, right? It was crickets in the room, right? I'm like, oh my goodness. So the technique I developed was I would just go up to someone and I would get on my knee and I say, just whisper it in my ear and I'll let everybody else know.
Hey, okay. Wow.
And so with that being said, now they're speaking in a tone where everyone else can hear them. Because they feel more comfortable speaking out loud than they do whispering in my ear.
Very true. Very true. That's different. That's different. And also original in my opinion, where, even though it's a technique, I always feel like, okay, some people may be inspired to say something, but some people may be inspired, but they're shy. They just don't want to say it out loud.
Yes. And that is it. That is the reason why. That is the very reason why I started doing that. They have a choice. They can whisper it in my ear, or they could speak out loud. So it's been an amazing experience just to even watch people grow from that. And I've also been in uncomfortable situations where someone has taken something I said out of context, or they've taken it personally as if I know them. So I've had to backtrack, pause, how you feel like that heated moment. It's like, oh my goodness, what just happened here? So I've experienced that as well. Like, oh my goodness, I don't know you like that. But, I've faced those uncomfortable moments, and you just take a deep breath and you just remember, like, you're here to present and you're here to leave a positive message. So whatever the statement is, you can be like, I'm sorry you feel that way, or that was not, directed at you personally. So I've learned, to step back, not necessarily apologize, but just try to find an understanding as professionals.
Amen to that. Julinda is my guest, Nexxlegacy Radio. Make sure you go to speakforimpact.com. Make sure you go ahead and check out the website, book this young lady. And, are you, like, when it comes to certain topics, certain things, have you basically opened the door for any and all topics no matter what, or is there specifics in what your purpose is when you get to say, like, if somebody wants to set you up for a booking for a speaking engagement, obviously you want to know the type of environment, things like that, but also the topic as well, right?
Right. So basically all my presentations are customized to their needs. So obviously when someone books me, they let me know what their needs are. So I've been booked for different types of events. I can say I did receive one booking from Facebook, and it was to do a memorial in San Francisco.
Oh, wow.
So that was something I hadn't experienced before, you know. And so they asked me to recite a poem. They went on to my YouTube channel, and they saw that I had recited Maya Angelou's poem. And so they asked me if I would do the same at the memorial service. So, yes, I've had some interesting opportunities that have been enlightening. But I will say that it wasn't too far off, because a colleague of mine a few years ago had asked me to write a poem for her aunt's memorial service. Though I did not attend, she had asked for that poem to be written. So I did not feel that was unusual. So being invited to actually recite at the memorial, I was like, okay, this is different. This is a great new experience that I can add. So, yes, I am open.
Yeah, that's pretty cool in the sense where, you know, you're not afraid to tackle on any kind of topics or whatnot, as far as, you know, difference again, like we stated earlier, just throughout the world, there's so many different things going on as well. So the impact that I feel like young kids should have in these day and ages, because there's so much, I guess you could say, distractions from probably when you and I were growing up, right? I think that in a sense, there is more out there. There is more opportunity for people to either take advantage of, support, or even on the other side, as far as, you know, try to manipulate as far as, you know, who's who and what's what throughout the world as well. So isn't it important as well, not just for the older generation, but also some of the younger kids too in these day and age, just to be able to hear some motivational, impactful types of things at a younger age, instead of waiting till they're in their 20s or 30s to get some motivational speeches, right? You can still do it while you're in elementary school or whatnot, right?
Oh, of course. So that's part of development, right? So part of development, where they say the first 5 years are so important, right? You need to hear those positive words. You need to hear that support. And I can honestly say, you know, Americans were behind on some things, and education is one of them, right? That's why we have other countries who outdo us as far as education goes, because they start certain things early, and they invest in their community, and they invest in their country. So some children, they get a lot of that support early in different areas of the country and in the world. So yes, I think it's very important to stimulate the mind as much as you can, instead of it being like a private organization. You know, a lot of parents who are more wealthy, they can pay for those after-school debates or after-school support sessions, or tutor or confidant, but the average person, they may not have that, right? And so it's all about resources at the end of the day, because there are private schools, there are homeschooling that do offer these services, unlike our public schools may. Right.
And this is super important. I'm gonna ask this question. Julinda's my guest on Nexxlegacy Radio, and you and I, we're you know, South Bay, East Bay area. You know, I'm going to turn this to like the education part of, maybe your opinion could hold some weight as well. But we've seen, you know, Oakland school districts close some schools. We've seen some other schools in different cities either limit their staff. You know, the thing is, you know, people say it's due to COVID, but at the same time, I always feel like people are cherry picking different locations when it comes to that. You and I both know that education is super important on all levels, not just the immediate level. It's just, you know, of all levels, there's so much of an impact having an education structure. What is the future of our education system? I'm speaking specifically in the Bay Area, but I'm even talking about globally as well. Like, you know, how do you feel about the impact that education can have, or a lack of can have, in our communities?
You know, it's very interesting you asked this question. I have 3 children myself. They're all adults. My oldest son is 32, and he actually lives in Denmark, Copenhagen, and he's been living there the last 8 years, and he earned his master's degree there. And he really can appreciate the quality of life that the Netherlands offer opposed to the United States and their education system. So one thing I will say is that I happen to have been fortunate, and I was able to raise my children in a neighborhood called the Rose Garden in San Jose, which is predominantly a white neighborhood. And the schoolhouse was walking distance. It was literally 2 minutes away. You could see the school from my front yard. So here this is, this nice, well-to-do neighborhood. Though I was a renter, though I'm Black and I'm a single mom, you know, I didn't fit that category, but I wanted to give my kids something better, right? So this was very interesting. The power went out one day on the street, and it was a warm day. And all these kids came out on the block, right? And I was like, where do all these kids come from? I'd never seen these kids before, right? What it was was I lived in a wealthy neighborhood. None of those children attended the public school that was across the street. All those children attended a private school. And it really dawned on me that day. I was like, wow, they have really positioned themselves. They know what is missing from the public school that they could possibly invest in, as some wealthy communities do, like Atherton. But they have chose to go to a private school and give their children so much more. And I believe more people are attending private school, people are homeschooling, and charter schools are beginning to take over because the government hasn't truly invested in public school. But again, it was designed that way as well. So people have to understand the structure of education and what it's actually designed for, because we think it's meant for one thing, but actually it's meant for something else. So we have to be mindful of that as well, so we can give our kids additional opportunities in life that the public school is not going to offer you.
You know what? You are so right. My daughter, through her kindergarten to 8th grade, went to a private school, a Catholic school. Education, I promise you, it's so different. It's so different in regards to that. Just because it's just structured different. It's different. There is agendas when it comes to public schools, just like it is with any other place. But as parents, you want to just set yourself up for, especially if you know certain public schools you're not getting the best out of the education that's going on right now. You want to do something better. If you can't make a difference, make sure you position your child or children in the right way or the right place where you can be able to do that. Listen, you might have to work a second job if you have to in order to make that happen. Got to do it. Education is so important. It's so important. And the impact that people can have, because Julinda, it doesn't matter what city you're from. If you have the right education, you could be, bachelor's degree, master's, everything, living in Oakland, and you just know because, your drive is different. Your educational passion is there. And I'm just saying that to say that education is still important, people. It's very important. It really does. It really opens a door, education and travel, because it opens a door that you're not aware of. And there's so many perspectives. And when you're isolated with lack of education, you're not aware of the many perspectives in the world. And then you've boxed yourself in and you've limited yourself. So education, it doesn't guarantee anything, but what it does, it allows you options. It allows you to open doors. It allows you to see things. It allows you to want to travel. When my son graduated from UC Santa Barbara, he was like, Mom, I'm going to Paris. And he had his passport, and he was gone for 2 weeks. And when he decided to leave permanently, he left with a backpack and a dream. But he was already educated enough to know what was out there and know that there was possibilities.
And
Right.
so again, now he's 32 years old and he's in a beautiful place. But again, the education, it just opened his doors. And it opened the doors for me as a single mother who went to school later, because as I was at the university, I'm sharing everything I'm learning. I'm learning about different countries. I'm learning about different options. And I was able to share that with my children. And so then that set them on their courses and on their passions that they have now currently. And that's been amazing to see the things that they did as a child. They're doing it as an adult and they're getting paid for it now. So, I mean, the possibilities are endless once you're educated.
And Julinda, that is a testament to making sure that you had your children in the right place so they have a choice to succeed. Because obviously when you send your kid out there into the world, they're going to obviously get some information from you, but also they're going to eventually make a decision on their own. Either I go down this path
Correct.
or that path, or I go this way or
Correct.
that way. And it's
Correct.
important for us to give, like you said, and you said it earlier, options. We all need options.
Right.
We all need to be
Right.
educated on these options. Well, when it comes to that, that's super important.
And two, you know, like I'm up front, you know, when I speak, especially if I'm speaker to younger people, I'm like, do you want to be an asset or do you want to be a liability? I mean, it's all what you want to be in life. You know, my first presentations was called You Set Your Destiny. You decide where you're going in life. No one can choose that for you. People can try to deter you. People can try to change your mind. But at the end of the day, it's what you want, what your heart and what your soul wants. And if you allow your passion to lead the way, you will always win. But when you allow other people to dictate your life, you will always lose.
That's right. Julinda, my beautiful guest on Nexxlegacy Radio. And a couple more questions. One is going to surround just some of the things outside of speaking, being a presenter, educator, just, you know, being so proactive. When do you take time to do stuff for you?
That's a crazy question. I always get that question. Actually, I am so easygoing. I do get time for me. Time for me means relaxing with a nice glass of wine or my favorite Tito's vodka. That's relaxing for me. I love to listen to music. I love to zone out and just be in my own world. I do not watch a lot of television, so I just really enjoy listening to music. I love burning candles. I'm real simple like that. It's those little things in life that I really enjoy. I did, for my birthday, I just turned 51. Obviously, I'm 51 and fine. You know, I did go to Vegas for myself, so, you know, I had a beautiful time. Went to the Circus du Soleil show for Michael Jackson. But, right. You know, outside of that, I really enjoy, you know, just having that quiet time and just creating that peace for myself. And I swear, I mean, I'm just as happy and giddy as anything, just having that, to be honest with you.
I just think that's beautiful to hear, because anytime I'm talking about business, all things of that nature, and how do you do this and why and when and how, when it comes to your drive, you know, I always understand and respect, like, hey, let's take a moment, let's give you your flowers, and let's say, hey, you know what about you, the person, and the fact
right.
that you are, just your smile radiates, but when I hear you talk, it's inspirational. I get chills, and I'm not joking when I say that. It's important for people to have a sense of, you know what, I still believe in this, Julinda, and like I said, we pretty much same age. We grew up in a sense where it takes a village, that mentality. My neighbor looked out for us and vice versa. Like, we did so much for each other where it's important to let that still be a thing. You know, even if you want to modernize it and make it, you know, make it something that is going to be a consistent thing, but it is important for all of us to share and to feed off that good energy and the good vibes, right?
Yes, most definitely. I think no matter what, and that's why, like with my poetry, I broke it up the way that I have. I write where I write to my sisters, you know, the women before me. I have desire because, of course, you know, everyone loves love and intimacy. And consciousness, you know, we have to be aware what's going on near and afar, and blessings, because I'm truly grateful for where I'm at in my life. And so I think that it's very important, you know, to be aware and That's another reason, I give back to the homeless. I do my part to support my community. I collect, whether it's food or clothing, and I distribute that on my own. So, yes, I think it's very important for us to be conscious of our neighbor, most definitely.
Amen to that. Julinda is my guest on Nexxlegacy Radio, and you mentioned music. So, in closing, what are some of the songs? What's on Julinda's playlist right now?
Oh my goodness, oh my God! Right now, my favorite right now is Silk Sonic, honey. I'm loving me some Anderson .Paak all day. I love the whole album. I have it downloaded in my head. Every single track is hot. So I feel like a little kid again. I was like, oh my goodness, yes, I'm a fan. But I really was hoping I could close out with a poem.
You can definitely close out with a poem, sweetheart. Go for it.
Okay, this poem is called Thick. So I like to tell all you sisters out there, appreciate it. And you men out there, she will keep you warm at night, okay? So this one is called Thick. Thick is me, at least that's what they tell me. No, baby, you ain't fat at all. I like the round booty and big thighs and all. Whoever told you it's fat lied to you, 'cause I like the shape of your behind, and you're fine too. See, some like 'em small or even skinny, but see, my man, he likes plenty. And plenty of me makes my man hungry, and full is what he gets from all of this. 'Cause thick is what I am, thick is what I be. Trust me, my man, he can't get enough of me. He kisses me up and down. Oh, and yes, he has to do a lot to make his rounds. 'Cause thick is what I am, thick is what I be. He sucks my toes all around. He tickles my spine up and down. 'Cause thick is what I am, thick is what I be. Trust me, my man, he loves this thick chocolate Hershey.
Woo! Woo! You heard it right here. Julinda. Oh, I love it. I love it.
Not only thick, yes.
Listen, while you're speaking that poem, I'm over here with my eyes closed, just thoughts. I'm embracing that poem, just so you know. Thoughts.
Well, thank you. I hope everyone enjoyed it as well.
I love it. And not only thank you for coming in. Thank you for continuing to keep pushing a legacy-driven opportunity that I know a lot of people are going to be inspired of. I'm not going to be the only one, obviously. I know there's going to be hundreds of thousands of people who are not only going to tap into your opportunities for you to have them speak, or for them to have you speak at their venues, but for also for the inspiration that will come because of it. So speakforimpact.com is the website. Make sure you go ahead and go hit up Julinda as well. And I'm going to put her website on my website as well. So anybody who will want to interact with her, book her, please do so. Don't do it now. Do it right now. So it's important for everybody to stay positive, stay connected, stay passionate about life and love and preserving a legacy for yourself and for others. It's important. So, Julinda, you're the best, baby. I appreciate you. You go.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much.